neighbor that there's a significant domestic disturbance inside this apartment. It's two men, she said, that are having a big fight. Officers are responding. Let's listen in and hear what happens.
All right, she heard it, y'all. Two men having a big fight. And it all goes south. All right, let's get it, y'all. Let's get it, y'all. Let's get it, y'all. Let's get it. All right.
We have multiple badge cams.
Middletown Police!
This cop has his gun
Police.
out already. Nigga got his gun out already. The other cops don't got their gun out.
Shots fired, 104, Park Lane.
Nigga ain't even crying. Nigga
fired.
dead on impact. Look at them niggas stunned.
Shots fired, 104, Park Lane.
Damn. Old ass man, don't know what's going on. Looking at you all calm. This nigga unholsters his weapon. Bang, 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 bang. All the cops are just looking there. All the cops is looking like, what the hell? Damn, like, yo, they announced themselves as, hey, it's the police. Bang, bang, bang. What are you doing? Open the door. Now, would I have opened the door with my gun? No. As a black man, no, I would not. But you got every right to answer the door with anything in your hand, homie, I guess. I just know this cop is tripping. You're a little too fast. I want to be that fast when I'm in the streets. Nigga try to test me. I want to be that fast. You fast, homie. But you a cop. You too fast. You too fast. His partner's just like, oh my God. Yeah, nigga, you just saw a murder in front of you, technically. That's a homicide. Like, y'all just did a drill.
You want me to come down there, Rollins, or me stay up here?
Come down here.
Yeah, come down.
Come behind you.
Where's the gun at?
It was in his right hand. It was in his right. It's right there on that table. You see it?
Yeah. What happened? Hey, back up!
Back up!
Where's the gun at?
It's under that table right there.
This cop is a retard. Where's the gun at? Stepping in the crib like it's a fire. Like, come on, yo.
You can go watch the original if you would like. The son is distraught, and of course you would completely understand that. They get the gun away from him. They did do first aid and tried to save this guy's life. He didn't make it. If you go read the news story that I linked in the description, during the fight, the son later said that he and the dad had a fight because dad had started a fire in the fireplace with the flue closed, and that's where all the smoke was coming from in here. And then in his fight with his dad, they ended up getting physical with each other a little bit. And in that, dad said that everyone hated him and it's better off if he was dead. So this does feel a little bit like a suicide by cop to me when you have that information. It's an important.
Yeah, when we had that information, but damn. Yeah, like I was not a bit like, that's some stupid shit opening the door with gun in hand. But the way he opened the door, like it just. He was very calm for the few seconds that we saw him alive. He was very calm. Didn't point the gun at nobody, but he raised it. I don't know what he was doing. I think it was like a hand motion still, or he put it. I don't know.
Important piece of information there. Grand jury looked at this and decided that the officer's actions were justified and that they would no bill, in other words, not bring a bill of charges against the officer because his actions were justified. I just hate these, Mike, because I feel like at the end of the day, nobody did anything illegal. And yet it's all wrong as a football bat.
Yeah, we've seen a couple like this already before with the threshold of the door, the shooting, and no matter how we call it, people are going to disagree with us. That's okay. That's why we're here. So leave us a comment. Let us know what you think.
I want to say at the beginning here, Mike, that piece of information about the perp here saying, hey, everyone hates me and I'm better off dead, that adds a significant kind of tinge to this whole thing that I want to be cautious because the badge cam doesn't always show the whole story. And in fact, it often doesn't show the whole story. And we got to take that into account when we're looking at events like this.
There's not much of a story. Shit.
It's worth noting, I feel like, that information was not made known to the officers. That information was found out after the fact from the...
This nigga look like an old bald baby.
Decedent's adult son. So it wasn't like the neighbor who called,
I hope I
knew
never
all
looked
that
like
and was
that.
able to relay that to police, and then they knew, okay, this is a potential situation. Had they known that, they might have taken a very different course of action. And listen, I'm going to say right off the rip here, it doesn't look great from a couple of these angles. If you don't slow it down and really meticulously look at it frame by frame, it looks like this officer was a little quick on the trigger. So
It looks like that. He got, I don't know. Show me that, because I think he was quick.
So John and I both understand the optics and how it looks, but stick around because there's a lot more to it than that.
There really is. And of course, from an officer training perspective, you've got to expect when you have a domestic, it is dangerous. And these officers, I think, did a pretty okay job of staging themselves. So from a, kind of a policy and
it looked like they was ready to raid the boy's crib. That's what it looked like.
Perspective here, they stayed out of the front of the door. They knocked very loudly. They announced themselves very loudly. And of course, coming to the door with a gun in your hand when you're hearing that bang, 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 police, man, I can't fault the officers for what they did here and how they staged up.
Yeah.
Who cares
listen,
how they
we're going to talk
staged
about this
up?
some more later, I'm sure. But listen, if someone's knocking on your door, you're not sure who it is. We've been over this, I think, 3 or 4 times with similar videos where people come to their door armed. Look, it's your right to do that. Sure, absolutely. However, it is insanely dangerous to do so. We'll cover this more in a little bit, but I just don't understand the mentality of there's someone at my door who's potentially dangerous. Let me go out with a gun. Leave the door closed. Use the peephole. Call 911 and ask, are they real police? There's 1,000 other things you can do. And understand these officers are going to be a little amped up. They're called there for a domestic. Domestics are notoriously dangerous. So this whole thing, unfortunately, was entirely predictable.
And if you look when he opens the door, look at the badge cam of the officer. Now, you got to recognize that the officer here is a step down. So he's a little lower than our decedent here. And if you look at the decedent's left hand, he has a gun in that hand, and that gun is generally pointed in the direction of the officer. It's kind of coming up in that direction. Did he mean to do that? I don't think so. I think that he's looking kind of down the hallway rather than at the officer. But we got to also recognize here, this is very important. What is the officer seeing? He shouldn't be looking at the man's face. He should be looking at his hands. He should be looking at the doorknob area, that kind of waist level, because the hands are the windows to the intent and where all the bad things come from. All he sees here is a gun in this guy's hand, generally pointed in his direction, coming out the door. And that is a critical piece of information. He can't do what we're doing right now and see the whole picture in 4K. He's got foveal vision. You and I both do too. And just seeing that, Mike, he's got seconds here, like split seconds, to decide, is this guy a deadly threat or not?
Yeah, and as John and I talked in our pre-brief extensively, the police don't have a choice. They can't not knock on this door. They can't just ignore this domestic call. They've been called there by the neighbor, and now it is their job, it is their duty to investigate. They did everything right prior to this door opening, by the way. This officer didn't stand in front of the door. You saw the officer on the stairs kind of get up and out of the way a little bit, just in case someone came to the door with a gun or shot through the door. That's policing 101, is don't stand in front of the door. It's a dangerous spot. They have to be here. They have no choice. They have to knock on the door. And all the information they have is there's a loud domestic dispute going on that might have been physical. And now this is the first thing they see when the door opens, is somebody with a gun. The gun is generally pointed in the direction of this officer whose badge camera we're watching. I guess I would ask someone who questions the shooting, what would you have him do? If he says, stop, drop the gun, or something else like that, in the time that it takes him to say that, he could have 3 or 4 rounds in him. It takes just a split second for this guy we're looking at here to get that gun up and in the fight. So this is just why we don't come to the door with guns in our hands.
And I also totally understand that, you look at this and you go, God, this outcome sucks, because this outcome sucks. This is a super kind of bad outcome, poor ending, and not what we want, if at all possible. But the officers can't just ignore this. They got to come and knock on the door. They got to recognize this is a domestic. Then the guy comes to the door with a gun in his hand, pointing it in the direction of the officer. Man, I don't know exactly what we're going to do here. It's just a Kobayashi Maru, right? So if you understand that reference, go get your colonoscopy. But he's stuck in a no-win situation, is where he is, and he chooses to defend his life. I think our second officer here, this is kind of an important bit, that our officer who's down the kind of stairwell a little bit, draws his gun as well. He sees what's going on here, and his response to that is to draw his gun. Now, a couple things that I see in this, Mike. Number one, that tells me he sees a similar level of threat. But number two, he recognizes that he doesn't have a shot here by the time he gets his gun out, because he's a little slower, and also he doesn't have priority of fire. So to me, there's more than one officer that sees a deadly threat here, and some good decision-making by an officer who chooses not to press the trigger.
Yeah, priority of fire is a real thing. Look, could he have shot here? I suppose he could have. Would it have been wise to do so? No, it would not. And this really does demonstrate the principle John and I are always banging on about each individual law enforcement officer needs to have independently, I should say, determine there is a threat that requires a response of deadly force. So if you notice,
they yapping too much. Yeah, that was bullshit. That was just some bullshit life bullshit, I guess.
Oh my gosh. What is some real hidden knowledge that is actually testable and repeatable? See, in this video, we will not be going over any conspiracy.
Yeah, I'm really not in the mood for this shit. I'm sorry. I gotta get back on my shit, y'all. I gotta get back on my shit, y'all. No, real shit, I gotta get back on my shit. I need a haircut. I need to get back in the gym. I need to make some more money. I'm not in the mood for this shit, man. Should have reacted to some funny shit or something. I don't even do funny shit. Now we about to be back with it, though. Back in the studio, back in the... The only time I'm gonna play the game is when I'm streaming. So I might be back with that. Excuse me.